welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I am your host, Paladino Joey or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. I guess it's a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. Starting recording this one later than normal because just kind of a busy day working outside like immediately after the game. So it just kind of is what it is. I had a lot of work to get done. It's just that super busy time of year. So again, recording this show much later. Detroit and Philadelphia already almost at halftime here on the Sunday night football deal. So it is what it is. This show will probably be slightly shorter, and maybe you like that idea anyway, and it's less babbling out of me, flapping my gums and making you bored. Minnesota Vikings hosted the Chicago Bears today, and yes, indeed, came up short like Minnesota teams are wont to do. 19-7, the Bears beat the Vikings, and the Vikings dropped to 4-6. And once again, another super ugly football game. Yeah, Vikings are now 4-6. It's been an ugly season. You'll also notice there was no video today again for the same reason. Just it is what it is. You know, I had to get to work. So fun stuff, fun time of year. Not hoping and praying this is the end of all of that lawn season stuff. I think I've done it enough. It's 31 seasons, so it's a long time ago. Imagine if Brett Favre played 31 years in the NFL. Yeah, this would be his 31st season, or 32nd actually, but whatever. He started in 91. My math is way off. 94 is when I started, but yeah, he started in 91. Anyhow, enough of that silliness. Ugly football game. Caleb Williams, the Vikings defense at times could not bring the guy down, and then finally they did a couple times, 2 sacks officially. He completed only about, 50% of his passes. 50%, 193 yards. Yet, when the Bears needed to get something, they did. It just kind of seemed that way. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you get this huge gain. The tackling would be poor. Next thing you know, the Vikings defense would be so focused on keeping the Vikings in the game. But again, then when it was the time to make the big stop, they just kind of sort of didn't, basically. Also, special teams had their wonderful moments. You felt like $1 million. What a nice return by Price. That big return. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it just didn't matter for a hill of beans. He had a 43-yard punt return, a 28-yard kickoff return, did Price. He's done a good job. He did not fumble this time around, but had some big, fun returns and all of that. But then ultimately, when the Vikings simply needed to stop the Bears after taking a 1-point lead, special teams let us down big time with, a 61-yard return by the Bears returner. And that was irritating beyond belief. Was it Blackwell? Nope, it was not Blackwell. It was Duvernay with a 56-yard return officially. I kept hearing 60-something, but no, it was 56 officially. Blackwell also had a 30-yard return, and Johnson a 22-yard kickoff return, believe it or not. But sorry, I'm just getting frustrated. Constant noise upstairs. Just back to the days of obnoxious neighbors again. I'm just thrilled about it. I couldn't tell you how happy I am. Thrilled. Just terrific. I'm really thrilled with J.J. McCarthy's prospects as well. No, I didn't say that out loud, did I? Yeah, I'm not happy. 50% of his passes. So both quarterbacks, crazy anomaly. You could call this the urban legend here. How do two quarterbacks in a game that felt like for the longest time was one-sided, like the Bears were kicking our butts basically until the final drive basically of the game that the Vikings had the ball. They went up with the exact same pass attempts and completions, 16 of 32 officially, 150 yards for McCarthy, 1 touchdown pass. That was very late in the game. His quarterback rating was in the 19 range. Wound up with 47.7, and that seems to be a theme for J.J. McCarthy this year. Even in the Detroit game, his quarterback rating dropped into the 60s. So it's just been ugly. It's been ugly. And there's all kinds of conversation going on about J.J. McCarthy all over Twitter, Vikings vent line, this and that. Some people think he's so bad that that calling him Christian Ponder is an insult to Christian Ponder. I'm not even close to that yet. Did you people really see Christian Ponder play? Did you see Christian Ponder play? The guy had zero special skills. Occasionally with McCarthy, you do see some clutch ability. You do. There is something there. But obviously, it is kind of few and far between. His accuracy in today's game was outside of that final drive to where Jordan Addison and McCarthy connected finally. It took about 15 tries. But, he looked pretty pathetic, yes, generally speaking. But to say that that's an insult to Christian Ponder, comparing McCarthy to Ponder is an insult to Christian Ponder, shut the hell up. That's stupid. That's stupid talk. Like McCarthy and Ponder, I'm sorry. I still believe that there is a future with J.J. McCarthy. Am I alarmed and disappointed with what I've seen so far? Oh, yeah. And especially in today's game. Oh, yeah. That was bad. It was bad. It was horrible. I was also pretty annoyed in some cases. Not every throw by J.J. McCarthy was absolutely horrible. I mean, some of them could have been, a little better. Some of them could have been a little better. But Jones dropped multiple passes. Aaron Jones annoys me. He annoys me. He's either hurt or he's dropping, catchable throws. So he annoyed me. He was targeted 6 times with 3 catches. I'm pretty sure at least 2 of those were extremely catchable. One of them maybe not so much. Not a very great throw. So, Aaron Jones annoys me. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Aaron Jones fan. I'm just not. He annoys me. And it's not because he played for the Packers once upon a time. He's annoyed me since he got to the Vikings. If it's the Packers, well, yeah, obviously it's a different kind of annoyance. Bleep that guy, But no, and since he's gotten here, I've not been a big fan. Sorry, I just haven't. He's had his moments, but they're few and far between, in my opinion. Last week generally was good, but we'll get off of that. Sorry, I'm just getting really annoyed. Can't people just go away? It's Sunday night. Go home and shut the hell up. But anyhow, 7 targets to Jordan Addison, only 2 catches. 9 targets to Jefferson, 5 catches. Some of them were just, again, not good throws. At least one of them was definitely a drop by Justin Jefferson. Naylor has been wonderful with McCarthy. So he was only targeted once and it was a 16-yard gain. So, okay, and that was very important. Naylor and McCarthy have been connecting, yes, and that's wonderful. Thielen had a drop in the game. That was the one, incomplete pass going his way. Jefferson, there was one for sure that was a drop. Others that were just inaccurate and very frustrating. So, kind of sad to see that. Will Reichert only attempted 1 kick. It was a 31-yarder, and that one irritated the bleep out of me. Yeah, because it's like I didn't write it down because I was kind of in a hurry to kind of get moving, basically, at the time. Getting ready to work after the game, unfortunately. But, the throw, the play where Will Reichert wound up getting, a chip shot 31-yard field goal. The Vikings needed only 6 yards. It was like third and 5. And it's like, where were we on the 15? And you just knew we're going to try to force our way trying to get into the end zone. And of course it was to Aaron Jones. And of course he didn't catch it. And of course it wasn't a perfectly thrown pass. Because if it's not a perfectly thrown pass, Jones is not going to catch it. That's just a fact. He's not going to catch the ball. That's why 3 of his targets were not caught. He's not reliable. Aaron Jones is not reliable, and I'm saying that right here and right now. But I thought the play call on that one was just, what are we doing here? That was dumb. I thought that was dumb. Generally speaking, Kevin O'Connell was not the problem today. No, he wasn't. Until the final drive, J.J. McCarthy was probably the closest thing to the problem in today's game. Spoiler alert for the Ponder Award. And that's the guy everybody's comparing him to now already. And yeah, he looked like Ponder on some of those plays where he just wasn't completing passes. He just wasn't completing passes. He was missing. He was just missing. He just was missing. But it is ironic how, again, his pass attempt to completion, it was the exact statistic that Caleb Williams did in this game. 32 attempts, 16 completions, 50%. Just a few more yards in Caleb's case. And he was harder to bring down, basically. Though J.J. McCarthy wasn't sacked a single time, which is interesting. And McCarthy actually did a pretty good job picking up the blitz in the game, which is really weird and interesting. So I think there's something there with McCarthy. I think Ponder would have just been swallowed up. So I'm not doing the Christian Ponder comparison. I'm just not. Now, again, is McCarthy on the right track right now to looking like he's going to be a franchise quarterback? I can't say that he is. No, I can't. But I'm not ready to write him off just yet. He is 5 games into his career. That's the positive side of things. I'm sick and tired of let's sign Joe Q, 35-year-old quarterback, to be our quarterback for a year or 2 or 3 or 4, and see what, like, because we want to win now, damn it. We want to win now. Well, with our ancient safety and these old defensive linemen we signed, and this Pat Kelly who, what did he play, like his second game of the season or something? I mean, Pat Kelly, I have like no faith in. Some of these signings, these injury-prone players that are older. What? That's winning now. I don't know. Crickets on that one, as far as I'm concerned. I know I can understand a win now attitude with Justin Jefferson, but you can only take it so far, because, well, this franchise never has won now. Even with Brett Favre at quarterback, we still found a way to not get the job done. We simply did, and yet Brett Favre ultimately, unfortunately, dealt the final blow at the end of that one. Even though, if you blamed Brett Favre for the NFC Championship game loss against New Orleans all those years ago, you didn't watch the game. It was Adrian Peterson's fault as much as anybody else's. I mean, anybody. That guy, I wanted to kill him after that game, and I wasn't the only Viking fan that did. That guy bleeped our team so bad, you didn't even know what planet you're on anymore. You were so pissed off. You couldn't even see straight. And I couldn't sleep that night. That's how heartbroken, frustrated, and how many opportunities were just thrown our way that we literally fumbled away in that game. And Adrian Peterson was the root of that issue and that problem. The frustration was off the charts. Off the charts. Excuse me. So with all of that said, I'm not sure what to say or do at this point. Other than, well, I agree with what Joe Zelgad's been saying and some of the other people that have been calling in. Was there somebody named Ariel late in the what do they call that, vent line show? Where, yeah, I mean, that's what's wrong with Viking fans, is how we always give up right away too quickly on some of these young prospects, and you just move on and try to sign the Kirk Cousins of the world, and you're never going to win anything. Sam Darnold is probably not going to win a Super Bowl. He's kind of another Kirk Cousins, really. A guy who can put up good numbers and win some games, but then here come the playoffs, and he looked a lot like J.J. McCarthy did when J.J. McCarthy's at his worst, missing. Like Sam Darnold was missing on plays that it didn't make any sense. So we pull up Sam Darnold's statistic versus the Los Angeles Rams last year, or no, even the Detroit Lions. We should see it. Detroit Lions, Week 18. I mean, it was a regular season Super Bowl. Can't even type. I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, 18 of 41, 166 yards, 49.8. I'm stunned, actually, that his quarterback rating was that high. Vikings lost 31-9. Wasn't it beautiful? It's just beautiful. 18 of 41. That's less than 50%. He was missing wide open Justin Jeffersons and such. So to trash on McCarthy as much as we do, I understand. Yes, horrible game. He stunk. He absolutely sucked in this game, and he stunk in some others as well. But for people to freak out about, well, we should have kept Sam Darnold and this and that. Well, when the lights shone brightest, what did Sam Darnold do? Sam Darnold did that. What did Sam Darnold do against the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs? God, these people are fucking annoying. I'm sorry. I'm just getting really tired of the people upstairs. It's nonstop. I'm sorry. I'm dropping F-bombs now. Well, I mean, I'm tired too. Not feeling, working my ass off all day and I have to listen to these jerks. Historically, Sam Darnold has had a historically bad playoff series against the Rams. 2 losses, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, so I just want to see the statistics of that game. Just show me the stupid thing. I don't care about that. Just show it, you stupid. God dang it. Sorry, I had it up and then I just don't. Yeah, the 27-9 loss. And they're just not showing. Yep, 134 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Felt a lot worse than that. I just want to see the game. That's all I want to see. I'm surprised his completion percentage was 62.5. So his numbers were a little better than the Detroit game. A little better, 25 of 40. But generally still, it just was an overall lousy game. And Darnold did not live up to the hype going into that one. But the Detroit game was really scary. Like how he was just missing and missing and missing and missing. I mean, you all saw it. All of you that watched that game last year saw it, where he was missing. So this is not meant to defend J.J. McCarthy as much as to tell people, hey, when Ariel called into Vent Line on Score North, she has a point. She has a point. Like, okay, you sign all these veterans to all this big money, and then obviously your cap situation is not going to be too good. Like the whole entire Kirk Cousins era, your cap situation sucked the whole time, and then that's pretty much and he would let you down when it mattered most, like late regular season games. And heck, he played 2 playoff games. He did win one, which was great, but then here came the 49ers game, and it was like bye-bye birdie. And also the other point is, again, he made the playoffs once. Darnold led you to a 14-win season and couldn't even win a single playoff game, and couldn't win that big division championship game either. Failed in both of them. So that's just, again, you're not guaranteed anything with these veteran guys either, especially ones that haven't done any damn thing. Like Favre was a winner. He did win Super Bowls, but he did have historic chokes as well on his resume, unfortunately. So that was extremely frustrating as well. Defensively, Blake Cashman had 15 tackles. That was great. Metellus with 10 tackles as well. Great game by those guys. Van Ginkel added a stack. He was huge with 8 tackles. Wilson had some moments, but I don't know. Turner has definitely been coming alive of late, which is great. 7 tackles in the game, including a big sack. Luckily, some people thought he might have been flagged for roughing the passer on that one because there was kind of a late hit on one of them. That was not a sack, but it was another time when he hit Caleb Williams late. Could have been a penalty, but thankfully it was not called. But I have been impressed with Dallas Turner the past. I hope I didn't call him a different name. It is Dallas Turner, right? Yeah. I hope I said that and didn't say some other name. Yeah, he had some moments he definitely had some moments, and he's been showing some encouraging signs of late. Rodgers also helped kind of disrupt a kick attempt by Santos, which put the Vikings in position to possibly win the football game. But unfortunately, again, after giving up that 56-yard return to the Chicago returner, that was a huge disappointment, to say the least. I'm going insane. I'm about to scream at people, man. I'm not even kidding. But yeah, that was definitely a frustrating overall football game. So, I mean, generally speaking, I'm no genius. I'm no quarterback whisperer. But hopefully Kevin O'Connell is, because he's going to need it. McCarthy's going to need that quarterback whisperer, and it does take time. Let's also not forget how Sam Darnold's career went. Obviously, it was a dysfunctional franchise, but at the same time, dysfunctional franchise or not, I mean, the Vikings look dysfunctional right now, don't they? Do they not look semi-dysfunctional, like a little bit? So things happen. Darnold, the guy we all love and look at like, oh my God, he took the Vikings to a 14-win season last year, and then we let him leave as a free agent. He threw 3 interceptions against the Vikings when he was a member of the New York Jets. He always had he had several 3 interception games. I remember talking about them all the time when I'd get into the NFL Roundup segment. All the time. 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions. I'd often get into the whole grape jelly stain talk when it came to Sam Darnold. He practically invented it. Practically. So, I mean, you can go all the way back to Carson Palmer for some of that as well. As good as Carson Palmer was, there was always that stupid interception, it seemed like, with that guy. After, unfortunately, he had that phenomenal, what was it, his rookie year or his second year? He was just awesome. And then he had the ACL injury in a playoff game against the Steelers, and was just, he came back. You could tell he was still good, but there was something different. He was more turnover prone, And just something about him wasn't the same, and it never really was ever again, even though he had some very good seasons with the Bengals and Arizona Cardinals, respectively. But we'll move on from Carson Palmer at this moment. The Fran Tarkington Award winner for this episode, I guess it's Blake Cashman. I mean, 15 tackles. You could say an honorable mention to Van Ginkel and Dallas Turner. Those guys definitely deserve some positive recognition. Oh, many freaking time. I mean, why don't they go run relay races, for Pete's sake? Sorry, you're making this too loud here. Offensively, it's nobody. I'm not giving it to anyone. Seriously, just forget it. Maybe Jordan Mason for actually running the ball in, so we appreciated that one. He had a 16-yard run along the way. The Christian Ponder Memorial goes to the guy everyone's comparing to Christian Ponder right now. That'd be J.J. McCarthy. So J.J. McCarthy will bring home the Christian Ponder Memorial for this episode, and hopefully for the last time ever. I'm hoping this was the worst game of his career, and right here is like, hey, you're at rock bottom. Now the only place to go is up. J.J., please tell me. Please, JJ, tell me that the only place for you to go is up. Please, JJ. Please. Because I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for JJ McCarthy. I really am. I want him to succeed. I want him to be a good quarterback. I like him. I liked him coming out of that draft. It's not about my ego, like, oh, I was right. It's not about that. It's about I want the Vikings to succeed, and I want JJ McCarthy to succeed. It'd be nice. It'd be wonderful. Wouldn't it be nice if finally the Vikings got the right guy, finally, and he's a long-term solution for many, many years to come, and not a cap liability like the minute he gets here, like Kirk Cousins. So that'd be so nice if that was the case. Anyhow, with that, we're going to call it a segment. Yep, we're going to call it a review segment. It was an ugly, ugly, ugly game, and disappointing how it finished despite the nice comeback late. That ended up coming up short because that's what Minnesota teams do in this situation. With that, we'll take a quick break and return to look around the league and preview the Packer game coming up. It's Packer Week. Can you believe it? And we are back here on Purple Mafia segment number 2. Okay, sorry for the bitching and moaning in the last segment, but believe me, you wouldn't like it either. Anyhow, last Thursday, the New England Patriots anyway, hosted the New York Jets. The Jets did not get their third win in a row. The New England Patriots are 9-2, which is something the Vikings were last year after playing the Bears in Chicago right around this same week. In fact, it was the same week last year. Justin Fields completing only 15 of 26. It's not that bad, but yeah. He threw a touchdown, but only 116 yards. It's just strange, but he showed some athleticism, but also lost the ball. He got in the end zone and lost a fumble. So both cases when it came to running. 61 yards on the ground with Justin Fields. Interesting, I guess. Nick Folk is the kicker for the Jets. I'm sorry to hear that for him. Drake May continues to dazzle. A lot of us would not mind Drake May hurling the ball while wearing purple and gold, but unfortunately that just wasn't meant to be because the Vikings did not have the third overall pick in the draft. 25 of 34, 281 yards passing, and a touchdown. Congratulations to him. Stephon Diggs led the way with 9 catches, 105 yards, but did not get in the end zone. Henderson did as a running back for the New England Patriots. He also ran the ball in twice. So 3 total touchdowns for Henderson of the New England Patriots. A great day for him, but it was against the Jets. So, again, but a win's a win. 9-2. Congratulations, Patriots. They look like the possible top seed in the AFC. They're definitely competing for it because Buffalo, not so much. Miami Dolphins did get their 4th win of the year in a rematch of an early 80s Super Bowl. I think it was 83? Yeah, because the Dolphins didn't win, unfortunately. Yes. Anyhow, the Dolphins did get to the Super Bowl but lost years ago to the Commanders or, Redskins. 16-13 win for the Dolphins. 4-7 on the season. The Commanders dropped to 3-8. Again, Mr. Jaden Daniels recovering from a ugly injury to his elbow. Maybe not as ugly as originally feared. So good for him that it wasn't as bad. Let's see. I'm going to look it up just for the heck of it. Okay. Thank you for the injury update. It didn't even say anything. Latest injury update, but it's not actually saying what it is. When will Jaden Daniels return? Latest injury updates. Okay, just say it. When is Jaden Daniels? It's just asking questions, but it's not really answering them. So, gruesome injury was not bad enough to guarantee his season is over. So that's interesting just in itself. So that's good. Daniels remains out. Well, no kidding. But that is kind of cool that at least he's not he's not even necessarily out for the season. This is what's important. Daniels avoided major ligament damage in his elbow and will avoid both surgery and a stint on the injured reserve. So that is that's a miracle. It's nothing short of a miracle, honest to God. So praise the Lord for Jaden Daniels. That's pretty cool. Had the injury been more severe, the Commanders might have placed him on IR, where he would have missed a minimum for 4 weeks. Interesting. Well, the team will reevaluate its quarterback in 3 weeks. Okay, well, that's wonderful. That is wonderful, honestly. Yeah, because he did avoid major ligament damage. That's what's important. And that's what I thought I read last week, but just wanted to kind of reconfirm what I was confirming last week. Mariota, 30 of 20, or 20 of 30 anyway. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Marcus Mariota, the former, he's been all over the place. Oregon Duck, who smushed the Gophers this past week in the Oregon Ducks. Marcus Mariota definitely was a promising player years ago at Tennessee, but he never really reached his potential. I mean, he did have a 26 touchdown, 9 interception season as his second year, but since then, I don't know. He never even threw for 3,500 yards in a season. So, I don't know. We'll move on from Marcus Mariota. He's at least a decent backup, though. On the Dolphins side of things, Tua did not throw a touchdown, did not throw an interception either, did not lose a fumble that I can tell. No, he did not. 96 quarterback rating, 171 yards. Definitely not an exciting game for Tua, but the Dolphins win 16-13. Kind of an ugly football game. Let's move on to Atlanta and Carolina. Deep South matchup here. The Carolina Panthers visiting Atlanta. They win another one. They're 6-5 on the year. The Panthers are 6-5 on the season. Falcons dropped to 3-7 on the season. So here's an example of a guy who looked like horse bleep when he first started playing, and in his second year as well. Bryce Young. He looked like crud, absolute crud. Like they couldn't stand it. Like, oh my God. I mean, Sam Darnold got more snaps that year in 23. He was a member of the Carolina Panthers, wasn't he, that year? At least partially, or was it the year before? He was and then he wound up with the 49ers later on, did Darnold. Bryce Young looked frightening at times. Just an absolute mess. But he's gradually been getting better and better. So if you're patient with these young up-and-comers, things can come around. So Bryce Young, great game today. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 123.2 quarterback rating. And this is against the same team that made J.J. McCarthy look horrible. So that's interesting because if one thing Atlanta can do is play some defense, obviously their head coach is a defensive coordinator historically. So that's, coaches usually were coordinators before they become coaches. Penix actually was super accurate in the game but was banged up. Kirk Cousins, 6 of 14. Ouch. 6 of 14. 52.1 quarterback rating. Not sure Cousins would make us forget about Drake May or anything if he was to come back to Minnesota. Some people do believe Kirk Cousins will finish his career as a Minnesota Viking. Let's hope it sticks to a one-day contract when it comes to that. So we'll have to wait and see how that all turns out. Bijan Robinson, 23 carries, 104 yards, and got in the end zone twice. And Alligar also got in there once. 3 carries for 10 yards. Sorry. I've made my point. Anyhow, the Panthers are 6-5 on the season. Good for them. I made my point how I feel about things. We'll leave it right where that is. Buffalo Bills are 7-3, 44-32 over the Bucks. Some people might even think this could be a preview of the Super Bowl. It probably isn't, but I mean, that random thought just came in my head. Like, could it be? Nah, I don't think the Buccaneers are going to any Super Bowl. The Bills might, but they have to do it first because, we thought they were going to do it one of these days, and that day just never came. Bridgewater came into the game, never attempted a pass, ended up losing a yard at one point. Mayfield, 16 of 28, one touchdown, one interception along the way. Tucker, 106 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Bucks. Good for him. The Bills side of things, Josh Allen, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Kind of a mess, a crazy game, but 317 total yards in those pretty cool retro-looking white uniforms with the red buffaloes on the helmets. Kind of cool. This ended up being a wild, crazy game. James Cook rushed the ball 16 times, didn't get in the end zone once, but Josh Allen did get in the end zone 3 times, so that'll definitely help your fantasy team. 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns for Josh Allen. 6 frickin' touchdowns for one guy, but he did throw 2 interceptions because he did. He's kind of a mess sometimes, but when he's at his best, Josh Allen is one hell of a star player. Prater made 1 kick from 39, but he also made 5 extra points, did Matt Prater. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate ya. Buffalo Bills, 7-3 on the season. Bucks dropped to 6-4. Houston and Tennessee, it's the Oiler Bowl once again, and the Houston Texans win the Oiler Bowl once again. 16-13 in an ugly, crappy game where Stroud is out again. Tennessee Titans looking to get that number 1 pick again. They might. They're 1-9 on the year. It's the worst record in football. Dylan Mills, 26 of 41 of the 274 yards. He's a pretty good backup. 1 touchdown throw, no interceptions, and no fumbles. Good for him. Good for him. Collins had 9 catches and 92 yards in the air for the Texans. He also had a touchdown catch along the way. Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward, 24 of 37, 1 touchdown pass. He also did lose a fumble in the game. So again, these are rookie quarterbacks, and again, that's where I'm kind of hanging on to McCarthy for now. And like how Judd was talking about, just let him play out the rest of the season, and you could kind of talk things over if you don't see any signs of improvement during the course of the season. I mean, enough of this win now BS. Develop this stinking quarterback, and if he is Christian Ponder 2.0, then so be it. Correct the problem. It's easily correctable, right? It's easily correctable next year by signing a Kirk Cousins or something stupid like that, which sounds like the Vikings, because I don't know. How confident are we in Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah drafting well? I don't know. I don't know how confident I am. I haven't seen a whole lot of evidence, but, at least that Rodriguez guy looks pretty good. The 7th round pick of all things. He looks like he's a wonderful draft pick, but again, 7th bleeping round. That's kind of funny and sad at the same time. 7th bleeping round. I mean, it's just, at least they got someone, though, because, you're always seeing something, aren't you, from him? I'm a fan. Levi Drake Rodriguez, that is. I am a fan. There's something there. There is something there, and he was a 7th round pick. I will remind you, I warned you, he was a 7th round pick. Yes. Anyhow, Houston beat the Tennessee Titans in the Oiler Bowl. Next week's opponent played against the New York Giants again, which was a historic battle back in the 2007 NFC Championship game in that big 2nd round, divisional round, whatever, playoff game in 2011, where the Giants won both. Yep, the Giants won both of them. Wasn't that wonderful? It was fun. It really was, especially when the 15-1 Packers couldn't win a single playoff game in 2011. The Packers were 15-1 that year. Do you remember? You know why nobody remembers that? Because they lost right away. They didn't win a single playoff game. Yeah, if you could lose to the Giants, that would be great. Yep, and they did not in this one, though, unfortunately. We'll get back to that in a minute. Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, 34-12 over the Cincinnati, I'm hurt, I'm out for the season, Bengals. Them and the 49ers, 2 teams I would love to see go to the Super Bowl against each other. With the, either one winning, I'd feel satisfied, but I'd love to see Cincinnati come out of the route. But then again, As a Viking fan, I'd be jealous as heck. Pittsburgh Steelers win comfortably 34-12. They would go up to 6-4. They haven't been that great, but they're just kind of the classic Steelers the last X amount of years where they'll make the playoffs. They won't do a whole lot after that, but they'll make it every single year. They're kind of stuck in the world of mediocrity. Flacco, 23 of 40 with 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception for Big Joe Flacco. Why did Mason Rudolph complete 12 of 16? Aaron Rodgers hurt his hand. That sucks. So we'll see what happens with him. 9 of 15 for Aaron Rodgers. He threw a touchdown, was sacked once in the game. Quarterback rating was 106.5. Mason Rudolph, 118.5 quarterback rating. Again, 12 of 16. No interception. No fumble lost. Good for him, at least hanging on to the ball. Gainwell, who's a running back, of course. 7 catches, 81 yards, and got in the end zone twice for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Good for him. Jalen Warren, 10 rushes, 62 yards. On the ground, Gainwell added 24 on 9 carries. So kind of a rough game on the ground for him. We will continue as soon as possible here. The Chargers head to Jacksonville. You think, well, Chargers are probably the better team, right? Well, that's why they play the game. Jacksonville has definitely improved the last year and a half, 2 years. And they won 35-6 over the Los Angeles Chargers. You know, the same team that made the Vikings look like idiots? The Jaguars win 35-6. You know, the Chargers were on the road, right? You know they came to Minneapolis, didn't they? Or did they? Yeah, they did. Well, whatever it was, they killed us. That was in San Diego. I'm a moron. That was years ago when they came here. I apologize. And I called that San Diego. It was Los Angeles. It was SoFi because both teams play there. Justin Herbert completed 10 of 18 for a mere 81 yards. 81 yards. He also threw an interception. Lance entered the game, Minnesota native. If you haven't heard that 15 times, Trey Lance entered the game as a member of the Los Angeles Chargers. 3 of 8, 37 yards, excuse me. So good for him, I guess. Yuck, Chargers got smoked. Absolutely whooped. Let's look at the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, even he again, another grape jelly stain, another interception for him, 1 touchdown thrown. 14 of 22 for 153 yards. Weird game. Travis Etienne Jr., 19 rushes, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wow. So 4 touchdowns rushed in by the different various running backs. And 2 running backs. And Trevor Lawrence also ran one in, showing some athleticism as well. Jaguars pound the Chargers. Again, not many people saw that coming, did they? I sure didn't. Rams hosting the Seattle Seahawks. And a lot of people see the Rams right now as a possible Super Bowl contender. And who am I to disagree? I don't like the Rams. I don't like the Rams at all. But they, Sam Darnold went to Los Angeles and lost again. 21-19. This is a regular season game, but Sam Darnold, the past X amount Shall we get into this again? Okay, so Sam Darnold took the Vikings to 14 wins last year. One of the losses in the regular season was to the Rams, and the single playoff game was another loss to the Rams. Sam Darnold went into Los Angeles. He attempted 44 passes. Must have been a fun game to watch. Completed 29. That's not bad. Oh, but by the way, 4 of those incompletions, what were they? They weren't incompletions. They were interceptions. 4 interceptions for Sam Darnold. 4. No touchdowns thrown, but 4 interceptions for Sam Darnold, so we're kind of right back where we started. About paying the big bucks to the veteran quarterback because, well, he's ready to go. You know, he'd been through the quarterback whisper school where McCarthy really hasn't yet because McCarthy couldn't practice last year at all. Couldn't practice because of stupid rules with the league. Like, if you're on injured reserve, you're basically like you don't exist. You're basically wallpaper. You know, you're about as you matter about as much as wallpaper when it comes to the Vikings. If you're on IR for like the season-ending IR, isn't that sad? That's just the way the rules are in the NFL. That's why they call it not for long, I guess. I don't know. Walker III for the Seattle Seahawks did get in the end zone, but the Seahawks lost in a weird game. Only 19 points, only a 21-19 game, kind of similar to the Vikings here. But Darnold threw 4 interceptions along the way. Isn't that ridiculous? And in a game that close, They could have beaten the Rams pretty easily if Darnold was, I don't know, wasn't as much of a mess. Stafford only completed 15 of 28. That's nothing sexy either. Only 130 yards in the air. But threw 2 touchdowns, so good for him. Running back Williams as well, getting in the end zone. 91 yards, 7.6 a carry. Epic performance by the Rams running back. Puka Nacua did lose a fumble. Yes, he did. So, I guess, in his direction. We can laugh at him. But the Rams are 8-2. They're the ones laughing at the end, despite Puka Nacua fumbling the Pukin ball. And the Seahawks dropped to 7-3. Still a great record. But the Rams are the heavy favorites, I think, now to win the division, that they've won this one. 8-2 on the season are the Rams, and showing that Darnold can't play in Los Angeles, I guess, because he's been flat lousy against the Rams, at least in 3 games in a row. So 3 games in a row is a pretty good sample size in the NFL. 3 games is a good sample size against the same team in the league. It is, I hate to say. It's pretty wild stuff. Arizona Cardinals hosting San Francisco 49ers. 49ers get their 7th win of the year. Good job, despite 19 injuries, basically. 41-22, basically getting doubled up. Practically, the Cardinals dropped to 3-7. Brock Purdy returns and doesn't look like he lost a beat. 3 touchdowns, 133.5 quarterback rating, 19-26, no interceptions, and no fumbles lost. Christian McCaffrey picking up to his Super Bowl capabilities anyway. 81 yards and 2 touchdowns for him. Awesome performance by him. Kittle also with 2 touchdown catches, 6 catches, 67 yards. Awesome, man. And McCaffrey adding a receiving touchdown to go with his 5 catches and 40 yards. McCaffrey looking like the fantasy stud he always was not all that long ago. And the 49ers look like a great team, but again, you got to remember who they played. They played the Cardinals. Even though it is a road game and a divisional game, funny stuff can happen in games like that. But they still got the job done. Ooh, another team got the job done too, but we'll get back to them in a minute. The Brown Bowl ends up being the Brown Bag Bowl because the Browns continue to suck. And I'm not rooting for them to suck. I like the Browns, so I'm not trying to trash on them. The Ravens have won 4 in a row. Remember, they started the season 1-5. They're back up to 500. So Vikings were one of the victims along the way, most recently last week. 23-16, the Baltimore Ravens continue to dominate the Brown Bowl. Lamar Jackson was not good in the game at all. He wasn't really good here either. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns thrown, but Henry getting the job done, being the big old stud he is. 18 carries for 103 and got in the end zone, rushing almost 6 yards a carry. Great performance by Derrick Henry. Great job by Mr. Well, what would he be? Well, what award would it be? The Bernie Kosar? No, I'm just kidding. Bernie Kosar. No, he's more with Cleveland. But it's the same franchise back in the day. We'll say the Vinny Testaverde Award winner for Baltimore, or the Ray Lewis Award. But the guy's a little bit weird and crazy. Anyhow, we're gonna keep moving. Congratulations to Baltimore. Oh yeah, I wanted to look at Cleveland though, and again want to put something into perspective as well. If I could get the damn thing to load. Shadur Sanders. So all of us trashing on McCarthy, and again, rightfully so. He played like crap. He played like bleep. Well, since I already dropped an F-bomb, he played like shit. I already dropped an F-bomb on the show. I'm going to put explicit. I'm going to finally put explicit because I have thrown in hells and damns forever and never put explicit up there. But today I'm going to have to. I have no choice. Shadur Sanders played like shit. 16 attempts, 4 completions. And Gabriel, who was the quarterback for the Browns for an extended period in today's game, completed 70%, 7 of 10 for 68 yards. But, well, whatever. Shadur Sanders also added an interception. So Sanders is probably a lot closer to Cade McNown than McCarthy in terms of not only did he play like crud, but he's an ass. Cade McNown many years ago with the Bears was an ass, you know? So it's like, and he couldn't complete a dang pass half of the time. Shadur Sanders couldn't complete a pass 3/4 of the time. He completed 25% of his passes. Outstanding. And he's an ass, if you didn't notice. That was the complaint. That's why he slipped in the draft, because he was a complete jerk. So, like, oh yeah, I'm the I'm the best thing ever. I forget what he said. He just made a complete jerk of himself. Just basically do your own research on that one. But the information is very much out there. Speaking of jerks, the Chiefs lost to the Broncos. I love it. Chiefs dropped back down to 500. Speaking of jerks, yes, and I'm not even this Bronco fan. Their coach is a jerk too. And the coach, between the two coaches, I don't love Andy Reid because he's the coach of the Chiefs. I mean, yuck. He's Dr. Robotnik. He's a villain as far as I'm concerned. But he's a good coach, and I don't really hate him. He's the Chiefs coach, and I want the Chiefs to lose. The guy that Paul Allen locally calls the anti-Vike, meaning like yeah, you know what I mean? Like he's evil. Yeah, that would be that'd be Sean Payton. Yeah, they're 9-2. Dang. Despite Bo Nix having some ugly ass games the last month or so, he's had some ugly ones. Patrick Mahomes not the best game ever, really for his standards. 45 attempts, 29 yards, or 29 completions, not 29 yards. It wasn't quite that bad. 276 yards overall, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Mahomes definitely hasn't been that spectacular. Kareem Hunt, who started his career with the Chiefs and was there for a while before he got cut because of some domestic nonsense behind the scenes, and eventually wound up back with the Chiefs again. Got in the end zone once, so good for him, I guess. No, not him. Please, not him. That stupid, dumb tight end who's occasionally entertaining in commercials, but generally not. Yeah, I like this tight end more, the one I was seeing on the TV screen. That would be George Kittle. I like him a lot more. He was on the TV screen just seconds ago. Any day of the week over Travis Kelce, man. 9 catches, 91 yards, and got in the end zone. But the Chiefs lost. Ha, ha, ha. The Chiefs lost. Nah, boo-boo. Bo Nix did not throw an interception today. He's had a couple games where he was a freaking mess. What did he throw, like 3 interceptions last week? 24 completions of 37 attempts, almost 300 yards. But, so not an exciting game by Bo Nix at all. But the Broncos won the football game nonetheless. He was accurate enough, and the Broncos go up to 9-2 on the season. Wow. Wow, wow. Anyhow, we'll not be going deep into the Packer history in this one other than watching them lose to the Giants historically, which they did not lose to the Giants today. Jordan Love and the Packers headed to New York with their, interim coach now because Gable is now gone, unfortunately. But future great offensive coordinator somewhere because he's a good coordinator. He is. And he probably deserves a second crack as a head coach somewhere. Not sure why both New York franchises are so dysfunctional. Because the Giants, historically, I cannot look at the New York Giants, look at that logo, those uniforms, that franchise, and say that's a dysfunctional franchise. But they kind of have been the last X amount of years, haven't they? This is a franchise with 4 Super Bowls, you know that? And tons of NFL championships back when NFL championships meant something. They meant more than going to the Super Bowl. They meant you won it all back in those days. Jameis Winston was quarterback for the New York Giants today. 3 major name quarterbacks this year. Started out with Russell Wilson, go to the future Jackson Dart. Now Jameis Winston in this one. Jameis Winston, he had to at least have 1 interception in this game. No touchdowns, 201 yards on 19 of 29, unfortunately, for the Giants. They just simply don't win the football game. Let's look at next week's opponent, the Green Bay Packers. Another nooner. Jordan Love and the boys. Malik Willis did complete 2 passes for 6 yards and a touchdown. Wow, that's interesting. 13 of 24 for Jordan Love, 2 touchdowns, 174 yards passing. This could be a very entertaining football game, and it could end up being real ugly as well. We had some great battles last year, Vikings and Packers. Great battles. I mean, those were fun, close games. Vikings were destroying the Packers in Lambeau Field in, what was it, week 4 last year, if I remember correctly. God, that was fun. It was so much fun, and it was such a warm day, and I was swimming in the lake, watching the game on the phone. I was swimming in Medicine Lake. I'm not kidding. I was watching the game on the phone because it was like 80 degrees out. And it was so nice, and the water was so nice. Oh, it was so nice. I'll never forget it. That one and the 49ers game the week before, where the Vikings also were kicking the Niners' ass and then almost lost, but ultimately Darnold was clutched down the stretch and the Vikings won. Jordan Love led the Packers back, and Darnold was clutch again, thankfully, in that one. And now here we are, all this time later. Finally, McCarthy's going to get his first crack to go up against the Green Bay Packers in a nooner. Oh boy, yeah, it's a little scary though. But again, I'm on the bandwagon of having McCarthy play the rest of the season as the starting quarterback, barring injury anyway. Seriously though, what the heck am I looking at? Sorry. Sorry. Okay, that was distracting. Josh Jacobs can be a heck of a threat at times. Today he only ran the ball 7 times. Kind of weird. Weird game. Josh Jacobs used to be a Raider, of course, we all know. 12, almost 13, 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns last year. He's already got 11 on the ground this year for the Packers. That's crazy. For the Tulsa, Oklahoma native. That's wild stuff. Jordan Love has definitely had some good games against the Vikings historically. Thankfully, Darnold was successful last year. The Vikings swept Green Bay last year. Are the Vikings capable of doing that this year? It'd be so nice if the Vikings could do that. Then then you'd see some encouraging signs, hopefully from J.J. McCarthy. Right now, obviously, I'm not very confident in things. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say I have my confidence is shattered in J.J. McCarthy, but I would say it's dashed a bit. My confidence in J.J. McCarthy has been dashed. Yes. Shattered? No, we're not quite there yet. But, I mean, generally a performance like today's could put you in that department. This will not be at home. This is on the road. Yep. The home game is the season finale, January the 4th. Both of them are nooners this year with Green Bay, so that's interesting. Sunday nooners, which I like. Oftentimes the Vikings get at least one primetime-ish type game against the Packers, but not this year. That's how that goes. Vikings then would head to visit Sam Darnold in Seattle at 3:05 the next week. Thanksgiving weekend, basically, but of course the end of it, unfortunately. Nobody likes the end of Thanksgiving week. They like the beginning of Thanksgiving week. Oh, yes, or weekend anyway, like Wednesday beyond. Basically, if you took Wednesday off, if you're fortunate enough to do that. So 7 regular season games remain, and yes, that's probably all that the Vikings are going to play this year. Let's see what McCarthy can do. And I'd like to believe McCarthy can get things done against the Green Bay Packers defense. I would like to believe that. Hard to say how that's going to go. Packers are, 7-3-1 on the season. They have that weird record. But that's kind of how that goes as well. I was attempting to find something here. But, yeah, I apologize for being such a mess here once again. Just general defense. I wish you could just see the general team defense, which is something we used to see all the time on these. Damn, that's annoying. Thought I knew what I was doing, right? But apparently not at the end of the day. So I was finally able to dig up kind of what I wanted, and it's better if I look at this stuff every week, but I didn't all the time. Green Bay is definitely in the upper echelon of overall defense in points allowed per game. They only allow 21.8. That's not too bad. Houston's actually tops in the league, which is interesting. Yeah, Seattle's Seattle. That's the next week opponent. But Green Bay's 9th overall in points allowed, in yards per game given up. Green Bay is, they're 5th in the league, 287.2. That's impressive. Rush yards allowed. Green Bay is 6th in the league in rush yards allowed per game. Defensively, passing, 195. They're looks like about 10th. Vikings actually are slightly better, which is amazing. We're actually slightly better in that one. Interceptions, Chicago, they got 2 today. They do have the biggest takeaway. They do have the most takeaways, the most interceptions anyway in the league. So it's not overly surprising that McCarthy had a couple, and he almost had 3 in the game today. Green Bay only has 3 interceptions all year, so that's cool. Vikings only have 3 all year also. The Jets have 0. Can you believe that? And the 49ers only have 1. And as frustrating as a season as this has been for the Vikings, unable to get interceptions and takeaways, we're actually not worst in the league, but boy, we're darn close with only 3 on the year. We're the 4th weakest team in the league in terms of interceptions. Vikings do not have a single pick six. Huge shocker of the year. Green Bay doesn't either. Only a couple teams do. Forced fumbles. Minnesota's number 1 in the league, tied with Pittsburgh and Atlanta. Isn't that weird? But we did not get a forced fumble in today's game. 10 forced fumbles for the Vikings. This is coming into today's game, by the way. So you can imagine other people catching up. Green Bay has 4 forced fumbles on the season, which is near the bottom. So that's good for us, to say the least. But we'll see how this generally goes. What does this total thing mean? Is it some kind of a fantasy stat or something? I don't get it. But Green Bay, well, their strength is more of the run defense than the pass defense, so hopefully that's a good sign. Green Bay does not have a ton of interceptions on the year, which I think will help the Vikings' cause, or McCarthy's cause in general. Yeah, they only have 3 interceptions all year, just like the Vikings. So hopefully that can stay right where it is, 3 only. And McCarthy can have an interception-free game. I'd sure hate to give them a 33% increase in interceptions this upcoming week, because only 3 all season? That's crazy. So an opportunity for McCarthy to improve, an opportunity to build on what's there, because I think the Vikings need to do that. I don't think there's any doubt the Vikings need to do that. Or Vikings need McCarthy to do that. McCarthy needs to do that for his own sake, of course, because we don't want the Christian Bonner comparisons. We don't want to hear boos every time it's 3rd and 6 and he can't complete a pass. That's beyond frustrating. Beyond frustrating. What the hell? So is that. People calling you that don't need to be calling you because they don't even know you. So that's really annoying. But yes, the Vikings have an opportunity to beat the Packers. This will be on the road in Lambeau Field. I have more faith that McCarthy's going to win a road game than a home game, because he has never won a home game yet. It's really weird. Like, I don't know why McCarthy can't win at home. It's freaking weird. But I think the Vikings will pose a threat, but I would not be surprised at all if the Packers end up winning the game. I would like to say McCarthy will show signs of improvement versus this Packers defense. They're a decent defense, but they're not as good against the pass. And again, like I said, only 3 interceptions all season. Again, hopefully McCarthy doesn't give them the honors of increasing their interception total by 33 or 66% next week, or double, which would be embarrassing and horrendous if that took place. Knock on wood that I won't. With that said, I think the Packers win the football game. Final score of something along the likes of 27-20, similar to what they did to the Giants today. That's pretty much how I see it. I think the Vikings are like the Giants right now, without being horrendous as the Giants. But I think the Packers win by a full touchdown in next week's game, and I'm not saying it because I want that to happen, just figuring it probably will. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs get the job done and defeat the Vikings 27-10 next week. With that, we'll take a quick break and get the final segment of fan interaction. And we are back here on Purple Mafia fan interaction final segment again. Sorry for the later release of this episode and all of that. So we're going to get moving right away for the sake of time. At Purple Mafia Show on Twitter. Facebook also, again, has the Purple Mafia Show, but you have to kind of look that up on your own, unfortunately, until I can turn it into an actual web page that says Purple Mafia Show like it once did. But yes, it is the Purple Mafia Show on there. A little bit of comment responding here. I think somebody said something on the Facebook page. Yep. Dave Hickey out of Iowa says, what a disappointing performance by the team, especially McCarthy. And yes, McCarthy did get the Christian Bonner Memorial, deservedly so, in this game. I do believe... nope, I already saw that from last week, so I just wanted to check. The Facebook, yep, we're already done from there. off to Twitter, Dave Hickey, picking up where he left off and saying something very nice here. Thanks for all the work you put into this podcast, Joey. All the research and history behind every episode. Fantastic. One note from several weeks ago, James Cook is Delvin's little brother, not his cousin. So, my apologies, Dave. Yep, my apologies there. So, yep, James Cook is Delvin's little brother, not his cousin. And, yeah, I apologize. Rhino, Vikings Uncensored podcast, like my video. So, really appreciate you, Rhino. That's awesome. In case you are a listener, I think he is. Dave Hickey out of Iowa says, not looking good at the half. 2 interceptions, lots of missed passes. JJ better get his bleep together. Yep, and that's for sure. Dave Hickey continuing, I think Mason is a better runner and Aaron is a better receiver. Yeah, I mean, oh boy, if you saw the frustrations though with Aaron today too. Sometimes he is, but sometimes it's like, my God, you have to throw the ball like literally like a bullseye for the son of a bleep to catch the ball. But yeah, when he does, he's pretty good. But Aaron Rodgers bugs me. I'm not going to lie. He does. He bugs me. I like Mason more. I like Jordan Mason more, just to be blunt and honest. I mean, again, like you have to throw a freaking bullseye for the guy to not drop the ball, basically. It's so annoying. Anyhow, back to Dave Hickey. Says, piss poor tackling by Harrison Smith. Throwing an elbow at the legs of the tight end. Wrap the legs, man. Yeah, it made a lot more sense if he would. Dave Martin out of Northern Scotland says, well, that was a tough watch. That was a tough watch. Rest of the season is about developing the quarterback and hoping he gets it. Glad you see it that way. I happen to agree, Mad Martin. Dave Martin out of Northern Scotland. Yes. The whole point is rest of the season is about developing the quarterback and hoping he gets it. Yeah. Yep, like I had to repeat that part. Yes. I'm in. I'm in with that. I am in with that 1,000%. Dave Martin says, I think I was mentally prepared for a rough season, especially with an inexperienced quarterback. Looks like there's a number of responses. Okay, look at you responding up. I think it's way too soon to make any judgments about McCarthy. 5 games does not make a career. That final scoring drive was impressive and gives you hope. Yep, I agree. And then it says, but what happened? Where's the but? It gives you hope, but. Yep, and then it says another one. Let me respond. Maybe this was one big, damn it, anyway. Long quote. Come on. This got completely messed up. Yeah, timeout. I'm going to read this quick before I get lost. Come on, get out of the way. Special teams has been awful for most of the year, other than the Price returns. I still don't think O'Connell is playing his quarterback in the best place to succeed. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think it's been a frustration. You know, it doesn't seem like he's set up all that well, and a lot of times this year the offensive line was all banged up and hurt, and now they're healthy, and he still struggled. Did McCarthy? And again, kind of going for a touchdown versus just simply getting the first down so you could have 4 possible opportunities to get in the end zone. You only go for the one and then end up basically literally throwing 4 points away. That's where I was annoyed. And again, because the pass wasn't a virtual bullseye to Aaron Jones. You know, it's just, come on, dude. But anyhow, yeah, well, Mad Martin was saying the final scoring drive was impressive, gives you hope. The football team's IQ was somewhat questionable. Naylor going out of bounds, not kicking the football out of the stadium was absolutely stupid. Yeah, he could have potentially scored. You don't give them a chance of a return. Exactly. Because it would have been better to let the clock run really low and then get that 1-point lead, which the Vikings did not do. Man, Martin continues saying special teams has been awful most of the year. Yep, I read that one. Next, Mad Martin again says, and I guess looking forward, if the McCarthy experiment fails, then the whole administration should be gone, because currently this team looks further away from winning a Lombardi than ever. Yeah, I tend to. Yep, that's what I've been thinking too. Like, if McCarthy is a bust, then I think the regime needs to go. I tend to agree with that thought process. It's something like they kind of need something wonderful to happen and soon when it comes to McCarthy. Dave Hickey jumps back in, says, I always thought you were supposed to protect home field advantage, and we have been terrible this year. Vikings have been terrible at home. Like, I think we've only won one game, and it was against that awful, at the time, as bad as they've ever been, Cincinnati Bengals, and that's saying a lot. Saying a heck of a lot. IQ, okay, here we go. This is a new couple ones from Mad Martin. I think he might wrap up the show. Yep, we're going to wrap it up with Mad Martin here, about 4 in a row. So Mad Martin lightning round right here at the end. Mad Martin, Dave Martin out of Northern Scotland says, special teams has been, I already read that one. See what I did? No, this is different. This one is different. Special teams has been awful for most of the year. Other than the Price returns, I still don't think O'Connell is playing his quarterback in the best place to succeed. See, here's where he continues. For me, he's beginning to be like the offensive version of Zimmer. Yeah, it's been very disappointing so far. I think O'Connell has had his worst year as head coach so far. Continuing, and I guess looking forward to them. Okay, what the heck? So that one is already read. Okay, here we go. Mad Martin says, I think O'Connell is a talented offensive coordinator, but not a great head coach. Look at Reed at Kansas City, McVay at the Rams, Shanahan at the 49ers. They have all recently made huge changes to their offense when the personnel have changed. KOC has shown zero effort to make any changes, and that's a mistake. That's a mistake. Here comes the last post of the whole day. Mad Martin says, the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, have now called 16 pass plays this season on third/fourth and short, which is 3 yards or less, with J.J. McCarthy as the quarterback. 0 completions. 0. That's unacceptable. It is. It's very much unacceptable. And performances like that, of course, are why J.J. McCarthy was holding the Ponder Award this week and could end up holding more of them, and I hope he doesn't. So it's definitely been a huge disappointment so far. Like, crazy. Third/fourth and short, and the Vikings have 0 completions. 0. It is totally unacceptable. It's weird. That's Mad Martin's Neato Stat of the Night right there. Mad Martin's Neato Stat of the Night, sponsored by nobody. I don't know if you've watched back in the day. Well, now it is back in the day. NBA Inside Show, whatever the heck. TNT, that type of thing. So, yeah, I stopped liking those guys when they got a little bit too much. They started venturing off into politics a little too much, and it's like, that's the one place you try to go for an escape is sports, and then sports tell you, screw you, we're going to get political here too. That's like, no, screw you right back. I'm not watching this show. That's pretty much how I saw that, but I guess that's it. That's the end of fan interaction. So, and I really appreciate those of you that have come on board, and I apologize if I've been missing call-ins, and if I see them, I mean, yeah, please do still try to call in. Gmail or Yahoo. I think it's paladinolive@gmail.com is your safer bet. Yahoo's weird. I don't know what happened to those calls, and I'm kind of disappointed that happened. In fact, I'm really disappointed because I know you've put in your calls and you've been very kind to call into this Purple Mafia show, and then to not get to hear your call, I bet you're just like, what the heck? So I feel terrible and stupid about that, and I'm not sure what happened to those calls. I'm not sure where those emails are or what happened to those files. So I'm deeply sorry for that happening. And again, I will recommend paladinolive@gmail.com for future reference when you want to, do an audio submission, also known as a call-in. It'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. With that said, it's nice to have the Christmas lights up and everything. I'm possibly, if I still have a millisecond of time left, maybe go out and look at Christmas lights. Otherwise, chill after a long, tiring day. And this grueling show as well, when you have such a crappy performance and your confidence is dashed a bit. Being a J.J. McCarthy fan, my confidence is dashed in him a little bit. But hopefully next week, McCarthy can kind of get up off the mat and keep fighting and show us the quarterback that we drafted. 10th overall ends up more than living up to the hype in the long term, and praying to God that it ends up being that way. With that said, thank you so much for listening. God bless you, and we will be back next week.